I think we've talked about everything in night one. Night two starts off with a downer, right? With a downer as hell. It's a fatal four-way tag team women's WWE Women's Championship match, WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the only team I like in it is Sasha and Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sasha and Naomi are going to win. I feel terrible about the situation Rhea is now in, the situation Shayna is now in, the situation that Liv Morgan is now in.
Yeah.
Like these wrestlers who were so good in NXT, brought up and absolutely unutilized to the best of their abilities. They had bits where it was like, oh, maybe, right? Yeah. But unfortunately, they just haven't. And I think the only team that makes sense, the only team that, according to maybe WWE, has a star, which is Sasha, right? They should get the gold. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think it's an absolute travesty what they have done with Shayna Baszler, who is Ronda Rousey's like best friend.
She even did like a sparring thing, right?
Ronda Rousey is, and look where Shayna Baszler is. Yeah. And look at how she was presented in NXT, the gold and black NXT. And look what she's doing now.
Yeah.
So it is a travesty, and I hope that once her contract with WWE has finished, she goes somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. I would love if she goes somewhere else. It would be really cool if she went to AEW and took Thunder Rosa's title.
Yeah.
But I don't know when her contract ends. But yeah, that's fantasy booking 101. All right, next match, according to this, is Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Not interested, no offense to that match. I like Sami Zayn. I've always hated Johnny Knoxville and Jackass as a show. But he's a daring man. And if anything goes, what's it called? The anything goes match. It even says it. The anything goes match. I would like Sami to win, but he's the bad guy, right?
No, I think
they're going to make Johnny win because he's the celebrity, right? Yeah. And he's going to do something absolutely madness, like being shot out of a cannon or something, and then clotheslining him out of a cannon, something really outrageous. And then he's going to win. He's going to beat Sami Zayn. So I'm not going to talk too much about this match.
No.
And then we've got Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Again, Pat McAfee, I've only seen one match against Adam Cole in NXT, and I thought that he was very good, surprisingly, for a guy who's not really a wrestler.
He is the only person out of those celebrity matches that there is an expectation for him to do a good match.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch his matches, like you said, with Adam Cole and one of the takeovers, where they had the empty crowd because of the COVID. And then he was in a War Games match when they were in the Thunderdome or whatever they called it.
2020.
And he did really well in that match as well. So that match, I think, is something to look forward to because you know that Pat McAfee can go.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a question mark over the other guys.
Yeah, I agree. And if I had to pick a winner, like I would love to see Austin Theory beat him and then do a selfie stick, because that's a selfie pose and stuff, because at least that's building the story, in my opinion, right? People might not agree with this, but I think he's just reminding me a bit of Sammy Guevara in AEW. So for that reason, I'm like, oh, if he's going to be a heel and he needs to succeed, he did it with Jeff, he did it with like a couple of other guys, and then he's just been Vincent's lackey for like the past 2 months or something. So I don't like his persona like that. Like I would love if Austin Theory gets a win. But at the same time, Pat McAfee's good. Pat McAfee's really good on the mic. He is someone who deserves, like he was talking, like, you know about this. He spoke to Vince and Vince was like, you're going to get a WrestleMania moment, right?
Yeah.
So I think Pat McAfee's going to win. There's no doubt he's going to win this.
I think you could do it both ways. You could have Pat win and then Austin attack him from behind.
See, that I'm okay
and then
with.
Do the selfie and then you've got the same heat on him to move forward.
Yeah, okay. I think we're on the same page. That's good. Then we've got 4 matches left. Okay, I can't believe even in 2 nights this is so long. All right, we've got the triple threat Raw Tag Team Titles match: RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It used to be called
American Alpha.
American Alpha. Thank you. Right. So yeah, the Alpha Academy. I think RK Bro is not going to split up this WrestleMania. I think they're going to keep it because they are, not apparently, but they genuinely are one of the hottest commodities WWE has right now.
I don't think Vince realized that it would be that.
Because he was probably thinking back in like Royal Rumble, he was like, oh, I'm going to break him up. And he's like, wait, people really like these guys. Maybe we're just going to keep it for a long. It's like Kane and Daniel Bryan. The way that just formed and no one expected team
it
no.
just organically happened.
And like I was listening to an interview with Randy Orton and he was like, yeah, Matt is weird. But once you get to know him and once you understand his process, he's awesome. Like the way, the fun that Randy Orton apparently is having with Riddle is so good to watch. So yeah, I think RK Bro is going to retain. But what do you think?
I think so as well. I agree with you in that sense.
Good, glad. Right, next match. What is it?
Edge.
Match of the night. Full stop. Right now. Not even night 2. Match of WrestleMania for me. Edge versus AJ Styles. Now, I remember watching AJ Styles in TNA in like the early 2000s and thinking his first name is AJ and he has style. He's so cool. He does like flippy dippy dooba stuff, and he has like this move called the Styles Clash, right? Or whatever you used to call it before. But I was really excited. And I was like, oh, this is like an octagon or like a 6 hexagon ring, and I was so excited watching it. And then at the same time, you had Edge, who for me was the guy who copied the worst version of a spear ever. But at the same time, he was such a good character. The way he molds himself through like different seasons. Like right now, he's changed himself into a heel. People haven't liked this heel, but this is reminding me of Randy Orton versus Edge when Edge returned last year. Not the second match, but like
the
initial match. And I was like, this is going to be an interesting one. What are your thoughts? But sorry, I'm not going to ask your thoughts yet. I'm going to give you my prediction. I think Edge is going to beat AJ Styles. Go.
I think that this is going to be an incredible match. How can it not be? Look at who is in the match. The build has been a bit like it started with such fanfare and then it just kind of fizzled out.
That's WrestleMania season for me, right?
But I don't know if I think it would be wise for them to extend the feud past WrestleMania. And have maybe AJ beat Edge. Edge goes even more paranoid and insane and starts attacking him even more. And then they start having maybe a gimmicky match, like a no holds barred or ladder or steel cage or whatnot. But just extend the feud longer. So at least you've got both guys doing something past WrestleMania. But I agree with you that it is going to be one of the ones to watch.
100%. Who do you think is going to win?
I think they'll have AJ go over.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm happy either way.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be like I looked at the card again. The only other match that could have had the same level could have been Bianca versus Becky if they didn't repeat it like every couple of weeks. They left it to fizzle and then explode. It would have been. We've got Bobby Lashley versus Omos. For some reason, I don't think anyone wins in this situation. Right? Bobby Lashley loses because he's come back and then he loses and his entire thing goes wrong. And Omos, if he loses, he's like, oh, I'm a big giant. I'm 7 foot tall. I just lost to Bobby Lashley, who's returning from injury. So no one wins. But what do you think? Don't care.
No, I don't really have anything to say. I don't know.
Wow. By the way, this video's gone a lot longer than I expected, but it's all good. We're at the main event.
Well, it's WrestleMania, you know.
Well, but people don't watch more than 10 minutes, right? That's the reason. But WrestleMania, I might split into 2 videos. Right, WrestleMania 38, the main event on night 2. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns with probably Paul Heyman in his corner. Title versus title, champion versus champion, unifying the championship, even though WWE doesn't really know what it means. But unifying the championship, having one genuine universal world heavyweight, whatever champion. This match might not be match of the night, right? But this match will be a very, very well contested match. This will be one of those where we've seen it a few times. And I think Roman mentioned that, oh, I haven't beaten Brock at WrestleMania yet. Every time something else happens or whatever, right? I think he beat him. What was it? He was about to beat him. and then Seth came.
Yeah.
And then
he lost
at 34.
34.
Because no one expected that loss.
No.
Right? And I think Roman's gonna win.
Yeah.
I think Roman's gonna win. He's gonna get both titles, and then he goes over. But I wouldn't mind if Brock wins either. Like, I think Brock winning would definitely be the only way that WWE can keep Roman as like the big heel, because he lost to Brock, right?
Oh.
He didn't lose to Keith Lee, right? You know what I mean? Like someone else, someone who they don't think is big enough. Right. But yeah, what do you think?
I think this will be the culmination to
one of the best storylines
that they've done in a while. Roman Reigns has become your next megastar.
Yeah.
And the focal point of every SmackDown. I mean, he showed up on Raw this past week, and I saw somewhere that Raw had done his highest rating in months.
Yeah.
So I think Roman Reigns has become your next big, pardon the cliche, the next big thing.
Oh yeah.
But I definitely think that he will go over. And then, if I was booking it and you wanted to get people excited, you would have The Rock's music blast out. Then you would end that night too with Rock and Roman just staring at each other, and then it goes. And then you there and then announce that will be the match for next year's Mania.
So I just got one thing to add here. So if Brock loses, okay, this is where I would love that.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I think the way WWE wants to do it is probably similar to that.
Yeah.
When I'd add an extra layer of when Brock's walking off and Roman's in the ring, that's when the music hits.
And they have a
interaction
on the ramp.
And then The Rock moves in and he looks at him and he does the WrestleMania point or whatever.
Yeah.
Looks at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But do you know what would be even cooler?
Mm-hmm.
If The Rock's music plays and Brock is still in the ring, comes in, looks at Roman, absolute confrontation, picks up Brock, rock bottom, people's elbow, and he turns and he's heel, and there's nothing right now. And then they extend the Rock thing, and then they basically at the end The Rock becomes a good guy and he beats Roman, right? But I think that is something they could do.
I think they could do that, but I think that is
The Rock is too busy
to ask for.
Yeah.
That
would be so cool.
It would be
right?
very good considering what The Rock is doing and his schedule and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's it. Brock goes away for a couple of months as he normally does after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The only issue is, how do you keep Roman relevant until WrestleMania 39? I don't know whether you take the title off him or
I think they need to take the titles off.
You just need to give that character some breathing space, I think, because he has been dominating WWE television pretty much since he returned.
SummerSlam 2020.
Yeah, so 2 years now. And they have done a very, very good job of keeping it fresh, keeping it new, keeping it relevant, because of the people who have been involved in it. Roman, Paul,
Brock as well,
Vince,
to an extent.
Brock. Very select number of people have been on that story. But that's what I think they need to do next, is give him some breathing room, give him some breathing space, because the last thing you want to do is you don't want people to get annoyed and fed up and bored of the character and the story when it's heading to such an ultimate conclusion and crescendo, when you're bringing two of the biggest names in wrestling, two of the biggest names in that Samoan family to face each other.
Do you think there's a chance that WWE might consider bringing, in NXT 2.0, they have the Usos' little brother, right?
Yeah.
I forgot his name. But maybe he comes up, just a thought, maybe over the next few months, he faces Drew. Drew wins, right? Roman just has one title, or maybe let's say if Roman stays the winner, right? Roman wins, beats Drew, and then they bring up Braun Breaker, they bring up his cousin, they bring up a couple of other guys like LA Knight or whoever from NXT 2.0, right? And see if they have how their dichotomy works, because I would genuinely love to see Braun Breaker or the Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns as a match, because I think like strength to strength, it would be really, really cool, because we don't see that very often, especially against Roman. One of the other things I really wanted, but I think that's kind of playing the Seth Rollins timeline from like 2014, 2015, where Roman slowly goes crazy. And let's say Rikishi shows up on the show, stays for like a couple of weeks, but then he does something to attack Rikishi.
Yeah.
And the Usos go after him.
Conflicts.
Conflict begins.
Yeah.
And then the younger brother comes out, and then like I've got a lot of ideas, but I think that's too much, and that's too much fantasy booking for WrestleMania 38, which again doesn't sound like the best WrestleMania ever, but does have a few really, really good matches that we're both excited to watch. For everyone watching, please do give us your thoughts about which matches you're interested in. Give us your predictions in the bottom. I know some people definitely will. I would love everyone to just shoot some comments and let us know your thoughts. And what we'll do is, because I'm quite busy and so is he, so we'll try and do a review of WrestleMania if we can next week. But otherwise, thank you, and until next time, take care.